What's up, guys? You're watching Bobsdecline. Today's video is going to be 100% unedited. Now, unedited also means there's not going to be any visuals, but we've got some lightning going on outside right now. So we're just hanging out at the substation waiting for it to pass. I do have a video that I posted last year regarding our regulations around working during thunder and lightning or electrical storms, if you want to check that out. But basically, there's been a ton of lightning in the area, so we can't go up in the air. All the work on my computer right now involves me leaving the ground. So we're on heavy duty standby right now. And I did want to mention also, I do have an app. I think it's just called Lightning Tracker or something to that effect. If you don't have that app in your Lineman, download it. Again, I don't know the exact name. Go into Play Store, type in Lightning Tracker. Those apps are awesome. It tracks lightning in the area and shows you on a map exactly where the strikes are. It's great to give you a heads up as lightning moves into the area. You can set the radius so it gives you an alert when it's 100 kilometers away or whatever. So what we wanted to take a look at today, my channel in general. In my YouTube channel, I try to share with others as much knowledge and experience as I can for line work, general line work. But also, as a lineman, every lineman continues to learn every day. They see stuff they've never seen before. They'll see different ways of doing things, different methods. As I've created videos for this channel over the last few years, I've learned so much from the viewers. There's a lot of great discussions in the comment sections. A lot of guys bring up some really good points. I'm certainly not perfect by any stretch. I try to the best of my ability to share my knowledge and experience as we all learn together. So as I sit here at the substation, I came across a post on social media. It's actually on a Facebook page that I'm sure everyone knows about, Line Junk on Facebook, a really well established, probably has the greatest following brand within the line trade. So there's a post on Facebook and on Line Junk, and it says this: is there a way you could put out a mass question to all of your followers asking what is the #1 rule in line work? I'm trying to get into an apprenticeship and learn everything I can right now, and I'd like to hear from the community. Brother's keeper is one I hear thrown around a lot, but I don't know if you consider that the first rule. So there's a lot of great comments. There's 142 comments as it stands now. A lot of great ones. There's some that I don't disagree with, or some that I do disagree with. A lot of it's a matter of opinion. So I want to share my opinion on some of the comments on this, and I want to hear your guys' opinion. I want to see a real good discussion around this. It's going to be great for people coming into the trade just to hear from journeyman linemen what they feel is important in the trade. Now, some of the comments, there's some swear words and stuff, and I do keep that off the channel. I have no issues with it in the trade whatsoever, but it's something that I do keep off the channel, so I'm going to be skipping those ones. Again, this is unedited. I just kind of opened the comments before hitting record. So I'm just going to scroll down through them, and yeah, we're going to read some off, see what you guys think. And a lot of this is just going to be, in my opinion, kind of review of these questions. So the first one we come across, it says, never open in neutral, never put yourself in series. So definitely, that's a good one. That's very important. If you have an isolated piece of equipment, let's even say a guy wire's got a Johnny ball in it. That guy wire that wire is insulated and it gets energized. If you grab a hold of that energized guy wire, you're just hanging there freely, hanging like a bird. You're, for lack of better words, safe. Your other hand contacts the other side of that Johnny ball. You're now in series with the ground. That energized portion of the guy is going to travel through your body into the grounded portion, and it's extremely dangerous. That's how electrocution happens. So that's a good one. That's a good rule, something good to remember. When you're doing rubber glove work, you're working on one phase. You don't want to put yourself in series with the source, with another phase, basically with anything of different potential. So I like that one. Next one, safety is your #1 mindset. always remember, a hole in your rubber brought you into this world. I'm sure you all have heard this one before, and a hole can take you out. That's why you inspect your rubber gloves before each and every use. A simple pinhole in your 20 kV gloves can be deadly. Now, most work procedures nowadays do have a process to protect you. There's multiple safety layers in the event of the failure in one specific layer. So if there's a hole in your rubber glove, chances are you're going to feel it. It's a very bad situation either way. But the fact that you are not working in series or across another phase or ground, you're in a tested insulated bucket, you have a pretty good chance of discovering that hole before something really bad happens. And I kind of hate to say that, because a hole in your rubber glove is 100% absolutely not acceptable. That's why you do have to test them before each and every use. This one here probably has the most likes so far, 56 likes. It says, if it's not dead if it's not grounded. So you have an emergency situation, car accident, wires in the ground, and fire chief comes running by and says, I seen the flash and that cutout up there blew, the wires are dead, so we're moving in. If it's not grounded, it's not dead. That's probably the number one rule. Next one. The first rule of line work is don't talk about line work. That's kind of a spoof of a quote for a movie, I think, isn't it? Where did that one come from? Let me know in the comments, guys, about that one. Good rule. Oh, I just got a notification from that lightning tracker. It says lightning detected in my immediate area. So you guys might see some flashes in the background. If you do it for a paycheck, then do something else. You have to love the work, the camaraderie, and the life. It's in your blood. That's good advice. So far, I like that. If it's not grounded, it's not dead. That's probably the number one rule. And a couple that are kind of perverted. Funny, but I'm not going to repeat them on this channel. Most important rule for me is make sure everyone goes home to their families. Absolutely. You will be hazed and you better love it. Abused apprentices make the best linemen. The whole hazing thing, it's true. It's not something in this day and age that's condoned or promoted. When I started, there was definitely a lot of hazing. There's not so much now. There's a lot more, I don't know the word I'm looking for in this one, but as far as hazing the apprentices and stuff, we don't see nearly as much of that as we used to. There's been harassment charges come about for some pretty mean pranks and stuff that used to fly back in the day. But I mean, you don't want to be a princess either, for lack of better words. You're working with a bunch of guys out in the field, sometimes sleeping in hotels for days on end, so you definitely have to have thick skin for sure. Not anywhere as close to the first safety rule, I would say. This one here, I get where he's going with it. Actually, I'm glad I did see this one, because I do want to talk about it. It says the two most important rules are don't trust anyone, and it's not dead until it's grounded. The not dead till it's grounded thing, 100%. Don't trust anyone. I've kind of, and again, in my own opinion, I've got some issues with this one. So I have seen circumstances where I was doing storm work, and a bird dog is the guy from the area that shows you the area and kind of knows the system, supposed to know the system better than people that aren't from the area. And we had a situation where he said, line's clear, close it in. Our crews, we didn't feel comfortable with that, so we said, if you don't mind, we're going to take however long it takes to patrol the line for ourselves before we close it in. And there was a tree, like, I don't know how you could miss it, a massive tree right down in the primary. So we weren't overly happy with that situation. So I get where he's coming from with the don't trust anyone. But that being said, I get my partner in the truck. We're out of town. I'm holding a permit. And I say, okay, Mike, I want you to go open 8001 SO64, remove the door, untap the riser, and report back when that's completed. When Mike calls me back, the Mike that I know, and he says, Aaron, I have opened switch, whatever I just said, and the lead has been removed. I'm ready to check for punch on the ground. I trust Mike 100% that he opened the switch he said he opened. It comes with, there's a lot more trust when you're working with your own guys. You know who's properly trained. It's that's a tough one, because you do absolutely have to trust your brothers, but there's circumstances where you might want to check things out yourself, especially if you're working with people you're not familiar with. A couple general comments about safety. Here's a good one. You can learn something new from anyone. That's 100% true. There's many ways to skin a cat, as they say, and you might do something the same way for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden come across a guy from another district that does something slightly differently, and you're just kind of like, that worked pretty good. Even someone from another department, engineering department, or even, you know, like a meter changer or something, you might see something they do that's different than how you did it, and maybe you like it, maybe you don't, maybe it taught you something about the situation you didn't know, let's say with metering or something like that. But just keep an open mind, and don't ever stop learning. Don't ever carry the attitude that, yeah, I know. When someone wants to teach you something, take the time to listen, and maybe you'll end up using that newfound knowledge. If you had to ask me if you need your rubber gloves, just put them on. That comment probably stems from, if a guy's working in a gray area, whether you do or don't need your rubber gloves. If the situation is questionable, then you err on the side of safety. So if you're saying, geez, you know, do I need them here? Do I not need them here? The answer is, well, then you need them. You need them there. So seeing all kinds of comments on safety, really, really happy to hear that. That's definitely been all around North America, at least areas that I'm a little more familiar with within the line trade. They're really promoting safety within the trade. Just scrolling through some other, you can hear some thunder rumbling there. Voltage regulator must be neutral in order to bypass it. Super important, and in fact that it's I wouldn't ever say it's the first rule in line work, because it's not often you work on voltage regulators, but that statement is 100% true and extremely important. Brother's keeper is the first rule. No aspect of our job is more important than the safety of yourself and your fellow worker. I'd like to add one thing to that comment in the public. No aspect of your job is more important than the safety of yourself, your co-workers, and members of the public. Just to elaborate on that one a little bit. The 3 rules. Always look cool. That one's kind of funny. If you guys follow this page, go look for that comment. Safety, safety, safety. First rule, don't die. Never say no to storm work. Lots of the comments are guys kind of joke around and stuff, which is totally cool. Sacrifice a lot. Rewards are plenty, but so are the sacrifices. It's no secret that as a journeyman lineman, you're busy. You spend a lot of time away from family, whether you work on the road or you don't. I work right from my house, and the phone rings a lot. Could be, well, even this week I was getting home at 2 and 3 in the morning multiple times. You when you have the time to spend with your family, you want to make sure you make the best of it, because there's no such thing as a 40-hour work week for the most part. Take pride in your work, and everything else will follow. Don't press your luck, stay in the track. That's what we're doing right now. Actually, I just seen a flash right in front of us here. Be smart, make it home. 35 more comments. We're going to scroll quickly down through these next few comments. A lot of them are just comments about safety, which that's pretty well the number one rule. Any that safety is our main concern. I like the one I just read actually about the no job basically is important enough to justify jeopardizing the safety of you, yourself, your crew, you and yourself. Those are two different people, right? And the public. Another one about holes in the gloves. Never say, yeah, I know, because you don't. Which, again, it's, even if you do know, that kind of comes with the attitude. If somebody's taking time out of their day to help you with something or explain something, if you did know, to say, yeah, I know, it's not very respectful. So just be glad that the person cares enough to share the information or their knowledge with you. They're trying to help you out. Here's an important one. If you don't know, ask. So sometimes what I'll tell, it's not often I get apprentices with me, but when I do, usually they spend a week in my truck as they're coming through their training. When I have an apprentice with me, if he's up in the air and he's put a J-hook in the pole to hang a service, there's probably a location that I prefer to have that J-hook, a certain side of the pole, certain quadrant, certain height, whatever. But our specs have a pretty broad area where it can be installed. I don't expect the apprentice to say, can I put it here? Can I put it here? Can I put it here? Something like that. If you're not 100% certain, but at the same time, you know, putting it here or 6 inches from here is not going to have any real safety issues, then go ahead. Use your own judgment. If I have a problem with it, I'm pretty well watching your every move. If you're 100% sure that it's not, there's no safety concerns, you don't have to ask everything. If there's something you're doing and you don't know enough about the subject to realize whether it's a safety concern or not, or if you know 100%, like, is this wire still energized? Absolutely anything like that, stop and ask. Stop 100% what you're doing. If the lineman that's with you is distracted, a passerby stops and starts talking to the journeyman, phone rings, whatever happens, you look down, you're like, geez, he's busy. You don't want to get in trouble for sitting up there doing nothing, but you're not sure. Doesn't matter. Take the time, stop, wait, and ask. Absolutely. Here, somebody took a photo here actually of a quote, I'm assuming must be their company's kind of safety creed, and it reads, no part of the service we render shall ever become so important that it will endanger the life of a lineman. So that's a great safety creed. And again, I would like to add on that one that it should be, no job shall ever be so important that it will endanger the life of a lineman or yourself or the member of the public. Make every move count. That one comes with time. When you're framing a pole, especially, let's say it's a vehicle accident, there's wires knotted up, there's tension in weird places, pole snapped in two, whatever. Once you get a lot of experience, you'll be able to do all the work in the location of your bucket, move to the next area, and not have to keep going back and forth, which is, it can be inefficient. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but don't focus on that too much. Focus mostly on making sure that every move you make is safe, especially with tensions of wires. You're using maybe the chainsaw, stuff like that. I wouldn't worry too much if you forget and have to go back to another location on the pole. That'll come with time. It's the speed and making every move count to get the job done. That'll come with time. So you do want to focus on the safety for now, and eventually that'll come. No shortcuts. True. Never sit on the secondary seat. So That means you're up a pole on hooks, working on something. Don't want to be sitting on live triplex because your feet are getting sore. Here's a long one. Let's see what it says. If it's not grounded, it's not dead. Period. Always test. Never assume anything. Find the most knowledgeable and safest journeyman and do whatever he tells you to do. Stay teachable if you have questions asked. That's a pretty good one. I agree with that 100%. And again, to elaborate on it a little bit with my own opinion, is where it says find the most knowledgeable and safest journeyman and do whatever he tells you. Nobody's perfect. There's a couple other guys at our office that are like textbook linemen. They're considered just pretty much the safety guys. And like I said, nobody's perfect. He might tell you to go open that cutout, and then you say, well, geez, isn't this feeding like 20 houses? Shouldn't we grab the load buster? And then maybe he'll say, oh shoot, I was thinking that was just feeding these 4. Or there's if you have knowledge on a situation and what he tells you doesn't jive with your understanding of the situation, then bring it to their attention. Maybe they can explain. Doesn't matter who's right or who's wrong. If there's a situation that you think there's a potential hazard, even though the guy that's telling you to do it might have 40 years under his belt, a history of 0 accidents, if something he's telling you to do doesn't sit well, and you have a reasonable reason why to believe that, then stop and ask for a further explanation of the situation. Don't just blindly do everything that you're told. So there's probably only a couple here left. Hard to pick one, but I would say if you don't know, ask has probably saved more than one life. So that just kind of elaborates on what we were just saying. Do not ever disregard safety. Shut up and pay attention. Yeah, you're doing a tailboard and somebody's going over the job. You're all in a circle, alarm, whatever, listening to the protection points and the approach to the job. You don't want to be chatting with buddy beside you. In that case, shut up and pay attention, I guess. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you can't ask questions. Usually, questions are reserved for the end. Once they go over everything, then you can say, hey, did you say the protection point was down this road at this pole? Because I seen a cutout here or whatever. If there's something on your mind, you do absolutely have the right to speak up. But there's appropriate times depending on how your company does things. So for the most part, yeah, keep your mouth closed and your ears open. But at the same time, make sure you ask lots of questions and you understand fully everything that's going on. So that is pretty well it for that post. So again, that was me reading off of Line Junk on Facebook's webpage. So I'm sure they don't need any introduction, but the pretty well the entire content of this episode is thanks to a post on their page. So Line Junk shared my videos many times over the years, and it's Anne-Marie. She puts a lot of her life into that page. So big thanks there, and thanks for checking out my video. It's been 23 minutes, but there were some strikes while we were watching. So I'm going to open up the lightning tracker, see what we got in the area. I'll probably head out of here pretty soon, but there's no outages on the system yet. So thanks for stopping in, guys. I'm just going to straight up upload this video, and hopefully there's a good discussion in the comment section. So see you guys soon.